So today we're going to see, can we factor out a monomial before we move forward? So when I look here at the coefficients 6, 48, and 54, I'm going to underline the lowest number, the smallest number. And I'm thinking about the factors of 6. The largest factor of 6 is 6. 6 divides into 48 nicely and also into 54, which makes it easy. So let's factor out a 6. 6 times 1 is 6, bring down the x to the fourth. 6 times 8 is 48, bring down the x squared. 6 times 9 is 54, bring down the subtraction sign. Okay, now do me a favor, especially if you happen to have a different colored marker, highlighter, whatever it may be, please circle the 1 and the -9. Again, the cool part is when it comes to a quiz or a test, if you have a method that works for you, I have no problem with that as long as you show your work. I do want you to recognize the method I am using. 1 times -9 is -9, and now I'm going to put a box around the middle term, which is +8. So I'm thinking of two numbers that multiply to equal -9 and combine to give us +8. And the answer would be +9 and -1. Come back up here to the 4, that's the exponent with the leading coefficient. So 1x to the fourth, I'm going to take that and I'm going to divide it by 2. So x squared and x squared. It comes from the front, it stays in the front. The only time you don't have to do bottoms up is when the leading coefficient is a +1. Bring down the 6. Now we need to analyze to see, can I take and factor each one of these further? So no with the 6, I know that's done. There's only one reason why this middle group is done, and that's because there is an addition instead of subtraction. This group can go further. 1 and 1 are both perfect squares. 2 is divisible by 2 because it's even, and I have subtraction. This is x plus 1 and x minus 1. That's from this group. Then I have x squared plus 9 and a 6 out front. This is my final answer. Example number 2. 8, 30, and 8. 8, 30, and 8. So I start with the smallest of the three numbers, and there's two 8s. 8 does not nicely divide it into 30. 4 does not nicely divide it into 30, but 2 does. So I'm going to factor out a 2 from all three terms. 4x to the fourth minus 15x squared minus 4. Circle the 4 and the -4. Put a box around the -15. 4 times 4 is -16. I want to think of two numbers that multiply to equal -16 and add or subtract to give you a -15. The answer would be -16 and +1. Multiplies, combines. Go back up to the variable attached to the leading coefficient here, and I'm going to take that exponent, a degree of 4, and divide it by 2. Comes from the front, stays in the front. Anytime this number, the leading coefficient, is different than +1, we have to do bottoms up. I'm going to simplify the fractions if possible. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 1 over 4 cannot be simplified any further. It's still in fraction form, so I do bottoms up. 4 slides up in front of the x squared. Don't forget to bring down the 2 that we factored out. Now we need to analyze each group here. Good to go? Does this factor any further? Factors into x plus 2 and x minus 2. Does this factor any further? What is preventing it from going further? The addition sign. Great job. This is our final answer. Go on to example 3. In my opinion, of the 9 examples, there's only 2 that are really difficult. This is one of them. I think the larger numbers just make it a little more intimidating. So I'm going to use a calculator. I'd like you to practice doing the same unless it's too hard to watch and do it at the same time. What is the smallest number I have? Okay, so I'm going to start by just writing out factors of 48 to help myself. So I have 48, 16, 12, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and so I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to start dividing them into, let's go with 75. So take 75, and maybe you already know the answer, but 75 divided by 48, that doesn't work, it's not an integer. 75 divided by 16, nope. 75 divided by 12, 75 divided by 8, nope. 75, 6. And I'm going to continue to go until I get one that works, and 3 happens to work. Now let's make sure 3 divides into 288. It also divides into 288, so let's factor out a 3. Now before you put that 3 out front, let me tell you, it's so much easier if you are able to remove this negative sign. So let's factor out a negative 3. 3 times 25 is negative 75. Attach the x to the 4th. Negative 3 times a negative 96 is a positive 288. Attach the x squared. Negative 3 times negative 16 is a positive 48. Circle the 25 and the negative 16. (25) times negative 16 is a negative 400. Box in the 96, negative 96. What two integers multiply to equal negative 400 and somehow combine to give you a negative 96? 104. 104 multiply to give you 400, and they can combine to give you a 96. Now that will work if the 100 is negative and the 4 is positive. Take the exponent of 4, the degree 4 here, divided by 2. It comes from the front, it remains in the front. How do you know when you have to do bottoms up? The leading coefficient is different than positive 1, so I'm going to divide here by 25. And now I'm going to simplify if possible. 100 divided by 25 is 4. 4 over 25 cannot be simplified any further, so I push the 25 up. Don't forget to bring down the negative 3 that was factored out. Okay, let's analyze it. Nothing you can do. X squared minus 4, can you factor it? X plus 2 and x minus 2. 25x squared plus 4, can you factor it? Yes or no? No. What's the only reason why you can't? The addition sign. So bring down what you have. 25x squared plus 4. The negative 3 needs to remain out front.